Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What's up, friends? Welcome back to the TV Terminal, and man, we are back for Revival Season 1, Episode 5, Triage. My name's Adam Vale, Senior Editor over at thecoalition.com.
And I'm Josh Lamage, writer for the Koalition.
And people, we are halfway through. If I recall, there's 10 episodes in this season, so we are getting there. And a lot of people upset. Shout out to Amanda who put in the comments. She's a little upset about this whole thing with the fact that we get the episodes first on Syfy and not on Peacock, because as we talked about before, a lot of cord cutters out there. People have moved away. They're on their, Peacock, Amazon Prime, and Hulu and all that. And Syfy, you either have to have cable or you have to have the TV package of a Hulu or Sling By and all those type of things.
It's funny. I showed one of my friends the podcast, and they were like, "Wow, this show sounds so amazing. Where can I watch it?" I was like, "Oh, well, it's on the Syfy channel." And he was like, "How do I even watch that?" Like,
right? Then the jokes. There you go. Now we get the jokes, right? Because of that. But so it is on Peacock. For those who don't know, it's on Peacock, but it's a week delay. So the reason why, and I saw a few other comments because we did have a short that we put out, and there was some people trying to figure things out. Wait, what do you mean CM Punk is in there? Where's CM Punk? He popped up in that one scene in episode 4, which will air the same day that we air this for episode 5 on Syfy. Episode 4, Peacock, you'll see CM Punk. But unfortunately, that's it, because we're about to do a full recap and review of this episode 5, and there is no CM Punk. What's up with that? Why tease it and introduce it? And now I'm getting concerned. I'm getting concerned because we saw him on the phone and he's trying to get into the quarantine town. But what if we don't get him? What if this is one of those where the whole scene is just him playing the phone game trying to get in?
I'd be personally fine with that. I don't care. I mean, but
you would.
I know you love WWE and all that
I'm
stuff.
I'm a wrestling fan, but when you put a big name character like this, or it's a big name actor, that's just a name. Because he's not a big name actor. He's just a big name in the wrestling world. And you attach that to a project, they have to know that people want to see this person on screen, right? You want to see him, want to see how he's interacting, want to see what's going on, his role on the show.
Well, maybe that's what's meant to keep them watching. It's that, like, the tease.
I guess. Because in a way, he does have a main role. Right, he does have he's the older brother of the 3 troublemaker brothers of the Czech family, so it's going to play a part. And then as we get into this episode, it does tie in a way. So anyway, we got that. Shout out, I think it was Riley. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name, but there was someone who put in a comment who answered our question when we weren't sure of the time period and noticed that.
I get that right.
Yo, you can bring that up. Yep, thank you.
Sir. It was Australia 3786. There is a timestamper on the video they watch. In the episode, it says that it's 2009, so that makes sense for the flip phones, etc.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, because we weren't sure. We definitely knew it was a time period because there's no social media. There's no mention of any of that stuff. And we're seeing people with the flip phones. I get it. That's making a comeback now. But back then, that's all you had. So anyway, but real quick, that was our housekeeping. Again, thanks for the likes and the subs and the follows and all that stuff. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, but thanks anyway. It's great. So you know what? Let's get into it.
All right. So the episode starts with a recap as usual, and is showing the crazy situation that happened in the last episode with Dana getting shot and Aaron getting killed in the woods. It's this whole thing. And we were left with a lot of questions on the last episode, like, okay, what's going to happen? How do they get out of this situation? Does Ibrahim find them? So, what did we gauge from this?
And the professor. We'll just call him because they call him by his surname, which I already blanked on. M calls him Aaron, and then K calls him the professor. Weiner. Yeah, there you go. So it's Professor Weiner, but then she calls him Aaron, and everyone's bouncing around with the name. But if for those who are like trying to keep track of what's going on, yeah, this is the professor. The professor,
Professor,
as we know. Yeah.
So as you remember from the last episode, we don't know who shot them exactly. It's the guy with the mask. He seemed like he was someone that
Yeah.
suffered some heavy burns.
Mr.
So
Crispy. Mr.
me and
Crispy.
Adam, Mr. Crispy, me and Adam are
Mhm,
we
mhm.
have a feeling that it was the guy that was in the incinerator. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, who knows
Or
at this
what? Well, and we'll get into it later in the episode, but with the whole thing with Blaine and his followers and what they do with the hand, the burning,
point?
what if this guy got kicked out and he took a burn to the face? Maybe
Yeah,
there's something with that. Like, how did he end up in the morgue in the first place? If it is that guy,
yeah,
something happened to him.
something. But so we get Dana on the gurney. She's in and out of consciousness. The situation of her getting shot is playing back and forth, so we get that like recap and this blurriness of what she's seeing. And then if we look at the next one, we get the doctor comes out and she's like, all right, well, she's lost a lot of blood, but we were able to do some surgery for her because it didn't, the bullet missed any vital organs really.
Yeah. Lucky.
Yeah.
Well, no surprise either, right? Because she is like the main character of the show. She's all over the poster art. I get it. It's a lot to do with M because she's a reviver and it's really trying to discover who killed her, that whole thing. But who's pushing the story forward? Who is the lead investigator on that? It's Dana. So that's the one gripe that I have with this show, that this something like this happened so early on. We've seen other shows pull this type of thing. It's like a swerve, or it's like, oh no, the main character just got hurt or something. Are they gonna make it? But we're only a handful of episodes in. Of course she's gonna make it. She's not gonna die now. It's too soon. So I don't know. I didn't like the fact that they pulled this.
Yeah, it could have been like Wayne or somebody else.
Yeah. Throw somebody else. Throw the dad. Yeah,
Ibrahim.
why not? Throw the dad. Yeah, Ibrahim is another one. Yeah, throw Ibrahim in here and be like, oh no, he interfered. He showed up just when Aaron dropped. Dana shows up with the gun, but we see Ibrahim is in the running after Dana, and then the shooter is a horrible shot. When it comes to distance, he was close up with Aaron, but not with Dana. Misses Dana, right? And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh wow, good thing he missed. And then you hear like a clump, like something in the back, and it's, oh God, Ibrahim, oh, this is horrible.
That would have been wild.
Yeah, there you go. All right, but anyway, yeah, the nurse is telling them
And
that's good news. She's gonna
Wayne says
survive.
something interesting. He's like, well, once they tell him that she's going to be in surgery and stuff, he's like, all right, well, I got to figure out this case. I got to go. He's like, I can't handle this. Obviously he dealt with his wife passing and things like this. And I think it just reinforces M's stance on like, I can't tell him that I died and now I'm back. Like I can't reiterate that or reveal that for him.
Yeah. Well, that was a big part of the hospital scene also. In fact, right before the hospital scene, because when Ibrahim catches up and sees where Dana, and this is early on, when this is part of her flashbacks when she was bleeding out, so she was saying, don't say anything. Don't say that M was here. Remember that, don't say that M was here. So he's like, he doesn't understand why. I'm surprised because he's super smart. You would put two and two together, with all the things happening, especially in this town, but he doesn't question it, and he sticks with that. He's like, all right, fine, I won't say she was here. So
Yeah, that was the last thing that Dana was telling Ibrahim when she was passing out.
yeah.
Don't tell him. All right, so basically Ibrahim, it cuts to showing Ibrahim in the car. He hears the bullets. He comes running out, and that's what we kind of see in like the scenes of lost consciousness with Dana. But yeah, she basically tells him like, hey, look, like please don't tell anybody but my sister. So then we get Ibrahim getting interrogated, and it's kind of funny because this guy is kind of like,
well,
I don't know.
Deputy Brent, right? Now, I don't remember if we saw him in previous scenes.
We saw him earlier in earlier episodes, but he was more comedic. He was the one with the cat that he was like,
oh yeah,
I thought he was in like
with
some
the cat
random
picture.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, he's also part of the detectives unit here,
Which makes
so
more sense.
Yeah. So he's basically trying to take control of the situation, and Wayne wants to get involved. And it's like, you're too close to this. You can't be involved, right? It's tampering, that whole thing. I'm running this, and he's like, you think you're gonna push me aside? It's not happening. So he's like, all right, fine, I'll share information, but that's where we get to this scene, because this is what really matters. It's the interrogation with Ibrahim. Now,
Like
I don't.
whispering in his ear.
What was that?
He was like whispering in his ear. It was getting like really
That
weird.
was very odd. That is another thing I didn't understand, because the way the actor, the way we were introduced to the actor, as you said in a previous episode, with the whole thing of with the cat pictures and all this stuff, real goofy, right? Doing
Yeah.
that whole thing. Wayne obviously is the sheriff, so he's going to boss everybody around and talk down to people. Talks down to him at the crime scene. We get that, but then here, where it's like, all right, you would think turn up the notch, go into serious mode. You're gonna interrogate, because right now, from what we do know, and he informed Wayne, it looks like Aaron and Dana were struggling for the gun and it went off. Now, why did they meet in the woods? What was going on? But it looks like it was Dana, from his perspective, that shot Aaron. So they were like, well, who else was there? Well, Ibrahim. So then we get to the scene where he's interrogating him. And I was expecting just a standard sit across, started asking some questions. Obviously, we know Ibrahim isn't great with these type of stressful situations.
He's so like nervous.
Very
He's like,
awkward.
You sure no one else was there? And he's like,
He's doing a
looking side to
fantastic job.
side, like,
He's selling the part. Here, he's definitely selling it. The facial expression, the stuttering, the nervousness, fantastic.
great actor.
Work.
Because honestly, he was so like in Outer Banks was
Mhm.
evil. Like this guy was
He
an
was evil.
evil dude in Outer Banks. Like it's so funny that like this.
He was
great
also
acting.
great in Station 11. That's what I know. And he was not like this, but he was a little laid back. He was really cool character. That was a great one season show on HBO. But yeah, so anyway, Brent over here, all of a sudden, like you mentioned, takes it a little step further, starts walking around him and whispering in his ear. Kind of comical, you know? I mean, I don't know. It took me out of it, because it could be, this whole scene should be taken serious, right? An officer was shot, and he is the only witness, that surviving witness to that. So to see him do this and like, come on, tell me what you saw. I know you saw something else. It's like, whoa.
Well, I like the comedic relief of it only because they're in a small town.
Yeah,
They're all a
yeah.
part of like everything that's going on. This guy finally has something to do because, usually it's probably Wayne interrogating people, but now Wayne is obviously heavily involved because it involves his daughter. So now this guy has like a chance to, be the good cop, bad cop stuff that he's probably seen all over TV his whole life.
I
So it's
guess. But you know what? Ibrahim sticks to it. He was like, hey, I didn't see anybody else there. There was another guy, but I didn't see. That's all I know. I just saw the guy that was there, which is the
I don't think
professor,
Ibrahim even.
Dana.
Oh yeah, the dead
Yeah,
guy.
the professor.
Yeah.
He's like the guy, but he didn't know who he was. He doesn't
Yeah.
know. He's like, yeah, there was
Oh
a guy, and
true.
and he was like, oh, he said the professor's name, and yeah, I guess him and Dana, and then they were on the ground, and that was it. That's all I saw.
Yeah, so he leaves out that M was there, and he's like, no one else was there. And he's obviously very, very nervous about this because again, Dana never really brought him in on anything as private
Yeah.
as the situation with M, so he doesn't know why he's lying for her.
Well, we know why. We know
Well,
why.
yeah,
You know.
but he doesn't. So Dana's out of surgery, knocked out.
Yeah.
Cooper visits, M visits.
Very quick scene with Cooper. That was, who's watching this little boy?
Well, she says Nella's watching her.
Who is Nella?
The bartender.
The bartender who's also in charge of the revival rehab
AA
group
meetings.
or whatever. AA. What's up with? I'm telling you, like that they need to just throw in one more cast member. It's like you got the bartender doing everything, playing multiple roles. You're giving the whole new term of small town. Because it's like, this is really small. It's like she's changing hats. Once she closes up the bar, she goes down to go do the meetings. When she's done with that, she rushes to the hospital. She has to go babysit. She also has a babysitting job for
Imagine being like,
Cooper.
can I speak to your manager? She's like, okay, I'll be right back.
Right? She walks through the door, comes back. I'm here. I'm the manager. Why? Shout out to the Dave Chappelle show. Remember the Kinkos? The guy being rude. Hey, the guy says, hey, let me speak to your manager. What? I'm the manager. He's like,
that happens a lot.
Really, I'm sure. But yeah, she definitely wears, that's right. She wears a lot of hats in this town.
So Ibrahim is crying here, and M's like, what did you tell them about? We didn't get to this just yet, but
yeah.
What did you tell them about? How did you end up in the woods? Who shot her? And they're trying to Ibrahim is trying to figure out this just as much because he stumbled upon this, but he thought he was going on a date.
Yeah,
Just
that's what he
imagine
said. He's like,
going on a
that's
date
what he
with
thought.
someone and you just
He
go in
says,
the
I'm just
woods.
going to.
The girl you were with is like on the ground. It's like, what's happening? Like, he's so confused.
I mean, at no point do I think that Brent suspects Ibra was in charge of. And I'm sorry, people. I keep saying Ibra. I think Ibrahimovic, a soccer player, and they always call him Ibra. So yeah, Ibrahim. So this again, I don't see it going anywhere unless he was going to stumble and mention it and was there, and then the show completely turns because then now it just be focused on Wayne trying to figure out why was them there, why you lying, and that whole thing. So it's good that he just kept with it, and then we move on.
She was like, we were there. Dana showed up. The guy, Aaron gets shot. Then Dana gets shot, and I see a guy shoot back at him. He gets shot too. Then he runs off. It's like she just doesn't. Yeah, like there's not much for her to like really give Ibrahim, and Ibrahim is left with a lot of questions too.
Yeah, a lot of questions, but I feel like Ibrahim is not asking the right questions.
He's not.
Yeah, because
but then
he could just he knows that that's a professor, right? They already gave that information.
yeah.
So then you would think, since he's part of this whole, he's a scientist. It's all about figuring things out. That he would try to figure things out. Did you know this professor? What's the connection with this? Why was Dana there? Did you text Dana? I know he asked that one part, and she said no. But it just shows there's more to it, and he's not asking. But I feel that normally any one of us would have asked that simple question, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey,
But
you connected some way.
But Emma's like, thanks for lying for me. Thank you for helping with this. And Ibrahim was like, I'm not lying for you. And he looks over at Dana. He's like,
I'm lying
and then
for your sister back there.
I thought they were gonna leave it at him just looking at her because that's apparent, right? But then he looks back at her and he's like, I'm lying for Dana.
Like, and I need that second date.
Yeah,
Slim Pickens in this town. You see the bartender; she is always working. And who else do I have out here?
But he's like, I might crack. If more people ask me questions, if another police officer comes up to me and asks me more questions, I'm gonna crack. I'm not used to this. I'm not a good liar. So yeah, so then we get Dana looking at herself in the mirror, and she's looking at the wound that's now healed, but then she feels something in her back, and the camera pans to the back, and you can see like the old scars from her other surgeries and stuff, but you see like this little bump, and it's the bullet still lodged in her back.
Bullet still in her. That can't feel comfortable, right? It's like you see him lean back. You're like, oh, what's that pinch? Oh, it's that damn bullet. Oh, shout out to our Uncle Ace. Remember, Ace had a bullet stuck in his back and it stayed in there. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, man. Well, that is a thing that could happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we look at the next thing.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Yeah.
I think there's a whole situation now where Wayne is upset. He's trying to figure out obviously what's going on. There's a lot of pressure on him because now it's involving his daughter. And M comes in and she's like, hey, so how would we need to find out who did this? Like, can we find out with the bullets? And he's like, I explained this to you. Like, we couldn't find any bullets. The whole situation was clean. She's like, well, what if there was a bullet? How would you trace that back? And he's like, well, we could try to trace it back. Like, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, there's a way. There's always a way. Yeah. And at the same time, we hear the receptionists keep coming in saying, hey, Lester has something important. I don't want to hear it. I don't want. And this upsets me. I mean, you had your gripes with Wayne and his writing and all this, and this is one of them. He's trying to solve this shooting. We're not going to say murder. Well, there's the murder for Aaron, but he's more concerned about his daughter. Who shot his daughter? He's trying to figure out. You would think you would want to hear from everyone, right? And it's like, hey, we have this guy. He's got some info. Now, I don't recall if she said info related to this case or he just has info, but she said he has something serious to say. He's got something to say, and Wayne doesn't want to hear it. Just brushing it off. Well, what are you doing then? What are you doing? Because you're already trying to shoo your daughter away from the office. So are you just going to sit there? I don't see a computer on his desk. I don't know. He's
Well,
not
yeah,
on the
there
phone.
is something right here. It looks like a computer, but
Maybe it is a computer. All right, so then it goes up because we know the other dude didn't like a computer. But anyway, the whole point is I don't see why he's being so defensive and like pushing away. It's like, no, I got to do this. It was like, well, people are offering information because as we get to later with Lester, he had some very valuable information.
yeah,
But
it seems like someone that he would have shooed away too.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's the same dude that we saw in like what the first episode, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
it was his property
yeah, it
with
was
the
probably with the
horse?
horse. Mhm.
Uh-huh. All
But
right.
it's this whole
Again,
thing.
small town.
It's this whole thing with now, like Dana. Now it's looking like Dana's at fault for killing Aaron. Now it's looking bad on all of them, and now I think Wayne is really, really concerned, obviously for Dana's well-being, but also how this is looking within the community.
Yeah.
He's worried now because re-election
Yeah.
and everything is on his mind for everybody involved.
We'll see. We'll get to that part too because got the mayor Ken over here. He's not too fond of him.
Yeah. So Miles Miller that we saw earlier, where Dana was looking for evidence in the woods, and this was like the guy that attacked her with the axe, and she knocked him down and hurt his arm, and then you saw it heal. He's being experimented on at the CDC, and I'm assuming this is maybe like either a plea deal or some kind of bargaining chip for him not having to go back to jail. I don't know.
I don't think so because they
Why
don't
would
ever
he be
bring
doing
that
this?
up. They don't
But
ever bring
I'm
that
saying
up.
she cuffed him. She was going to bring him back to jail because he died in jail, so he didn't serve his time. I mean that's also the moral obligation
Yeah,
of like what's
with Dana,
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
we see Dr. Claire over here running experiments.
that's what I'm
Just
saying. Like,
trying.
did he
Yeah.
agree?
No, he didn't agree. You could tell he didn't agree. He's upset by it. He's screaming
But
and
he
stuff.
means oddly nonchalant about it at first. He's like, yeah, it's not like he's like begging to leave or begging to go back to jail.
Well, if that's the case, they haven't said anything. Because at
That's what
least not
I
in
was
this
assuming.
episode. Yeah, they still haven't said. And no, you know what? No, let's brush that off right now.
Hmm.
Because if that was the case, later on when they're having a talk with the governor, she could have brought it up when Ibrahim was against the whole experiments and all that stuff. It's like, hey, he consented. He's cool with it, but she didn't. So I don't think that's the case. I think this is just, hey, we have him in custody and we need to figure things out.
That's
And
even worse. That's even worse. He's in custody and we're running experiments on him. I guess he has no rights now that he's a
he has
reviver.
no, he's
That's
dead.
even more for Ibrahim to be like, this is ammo against the governor. But I guess
He's already written off the system. His social security number that's voided out. That's it. He's a no man
he
land
doesn't
person.
exist.
He doesn't exist. Yeah, he's gone. What do you do? But this is what you do. You run tests and you try to figure out what sticks. She's injecting poison and all kinds of things to see if he can heal and recover from certain bites and venom and stuff like that. So
She took a piece of his flesh. Like
nice.
they're really just trying to figure this all out with them.
Well,
Which makes sense. I feel like Ibrahim is kind of like just passive, and he cares more about like the
he's too much
ethics.
on the straight and narrow, and I get where he's coming from for a lot of the things he was talking. Remember putting them in camps and this and this. I get that, but this is a completely different situation. These are technically zombie people. Okay, yes, they're talking. They're not asking for brains, but they are dead. They are dead. As we'll get in later on with Blaine, and we talked about this. Do they smell? Is there a smell? Apparently, there is a smell. There is a smell because even though they're back, what about the internals? Do they even have a heartbeat? You know what I mean? Like, is that's they haven't checked that yet. We haven't
Well, they
heard
have
how they.
blood coming out and all this stuff still. I'm assuming
Yeah.
everything is functioning. What we could tell from this whole situation with Miles here is that it's based on cellular function. So something is happening here with the cells. So it's a more scientific standpoint, but obviously Blaine and them are looking at it like a religious science.
Yeah, like with the
But
teeth, they took the tooth out, remember, and then it came
yeah,
back in him. And it's like, all right, well, we see where that's going. But yeah, like, can they breathe? Do they need to breathe?
yeah. I mean, but they'll still suffocate and then come back.
Oh, well, maybe. But you know who hasn't come back yet? Arlene's
Yeah,
not
where
back
did she
yet.
go?
What's up with that? She's probably still healing because they said she was regenerating. So we'll see Arlene maybe in the next episode. Oh man.
So yeah, and this was the for those watching, this was the shot of Dana in the hospital and with her new fresh haircut and Ibrahim looking over her. But we could go to the next one. So M now in the story is with her roommate. We could go to the next one as well for this.
Oh, wow,
M is now
we
with her
skipped
roommate.
over. No, man,
Oh,
we
no.
really.
Oh, no, go back,
Oh,
go back, go
no,
back, go back,
no,
go
we
back.
screwed up. Oh,
Go
see,
back,
this
go
is it, real time, people. No edits.
One more over.
We'll just stick with this because we do have it with the.
No, to the right. Keep moving.
No. That's what I'm saying. No,
To the mayor. Not this one. We're good with. Yeah, there we go. No.
Mayor Ken. Let's just go with Mayor Ken. There we go. All right. Yeah, we had a bunch of slides and stuff with this, but yeah, it's always something. This is what happens when you do it live. But yeah, Mayor comes in. For those who don't remember, Diane, or they want to say Diana. I think he said Diane.
Diane.
She's the one. She's the one that visited the mayor. I mean, Wayne, and talking about she didn't want to be on the list. That whole register if you're a reviver list, because she offed herself and she doesn't want anybody to know about this. And what we find out here, I guess they said it, and I remember we're like, oh, maybe he knows the husband. Poof, that's right. Ken's the name of the mayor. Yeah. So the mayor is the husband. So he approaches Wayne about this in his office. How could you add her to the list? You know what this can do to my reputation and this and this. And he starts mouthing off, which makes sense. But man,
it's understandable. But then he was like, well, you can't pick and choose. Like, if I'm doing this for everybody, I have to do this for, your wife. It doesn't matter. And he's like, well, what if it was your wife? Like, how would you go about it?
Oh, man.
I mean, he brings up his wife's name is Patty. So now we know that the Cypress mother, her name is Patty.
Yeah.
What would you do in this situation? What if this was your wife? And, and he says an insult, which is
he says an insult. Yeah.
Yes. You're a nasty piece of work, considering that you got one daughter in anger management and another suspected of murder. It's clear that the last piece of goodness in the Cypress family died with Patty.
Damn. Woo. There you
Wayne,
go. And he
jumps up. He's like, gets in his face. Yeah.
What do you? It's a tricky situation because from Wayne's point of view, if let's say we were in Wayne's shoes right now and this happened and you have this altercation, your daughter, like he just threw everything in his face, probably hit him, probably hit the mayor. I wouldn't even care at that point. I was like, you know what? That's it. You're mouthing off. I'm the sheriff. But that's one of the last things. He gets in his face and the mayor just says, hey, you know what? I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you don't get reelected.
Yeah, he says, like, I know the real Wayne. I know who you are. And I'm going to make sure that you don't get reelected or in a position of power ever again. So he does want, he's going to ruin his reputation.
And the truth is, we know with real Wayne too, and he's kind of a prick. We're not fond of this Wayne anyway. So
take his job.
Yeah, go ahead. They'll probably give it to Brent. They keep this community small. So.
Well, it seems apparent. I mean, obviously with him and then his daughter being a detective and all this stuff, it's like they're kind of running things here. If you remember earlier in the episode when he was talking to the other detective, he was like, I know how you Cypresses run stuff here. Like, you're not gonna pull one up on me. Like, so it's a rough situation. But then in the same token, the mayor is trying to do this as well. Like he's trying to look out for his own.
He's hiding his own dirt, which I don't know how, because you would think that would have come up just the fact that what happened to your wife? Where's your wife? Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the sheriff and how he's handling all the revivers. But where's your wife? Why you keep asking about my wife? You know what I'm saying?
But it's funny. It's funny because he obviously knew that his wife was a reviver, but then he was so outspoken against revivers in general and opening the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh well.
It's weird, but
one of those.
Next we have M is with her roommate, and you said something funny when we were watching this. You were like, "Why isn't she in jail?" Like for the drugs and all that.
Getting high, like nothing happened. I guess that was Dana's call.
Yeah,
right. That must have been Dana's call to just let her go for all that.
I guess since Dana squashed the beef, at least for now, with the Czech family and with that whole thing, then I guess Kay's off the hook because she also helped with that part of the investigation.
But that whole scene, at first I'm watching, it's like, and we're over here, like we just said, we're griping on the fact that she's not in jail, but it worked. It made sense because M was like, I need someone I can trust. And what do you need? She lays down, like, I need you to take this bullet out my back. And she's she's getting squeamish. This is Kay, and she's getting sick. She's like, I
She's
can't
like,
do
Aaron
this.
died. What
Right?
is
It's like,
going
oh
on?
yeah, because that was the other thing. She was like, Aaron's dead, the professor, and then my sister got shot. What's happening? Yeah, there's a bullet in my back. Just take it out.
She was really funny with this because she was obviously hot, like smoking and like you see the
Yeah.
bong and all this stuff.
See the bong. It's a
And Dana's
lot
like,
going on.
like she's like, all right, just once M cut once K cut into M, she's like, all right, now use your fingers. And K's like
Oh,
freaking out. She's like,
oh man, there was a moment like this on Murderbot, and I made a clip and I sent this out to people. It was like, would you be squeamish? Could you do this? It was like cut open the guy's back. It's a robot, but still, you had flesh. Cut it open, get a piece of the spine out, so that you can use it they need it for the ship. But it's the same type of deal. It's like, can you do that? Can you cut open a friend of yours to get something out of their back? Would you be able to do it?
think so.
You think so?
For my friend, yeah.
With the blood and all that. Well, with this, at least it wasn't too bad, because after she made that first incision and she's getting all squeamish and she moves away, she was like, and it's like, hey, you got to hurry up. I'm healing. It's going to close up.
Yeah, that was cool.
And it's like, oh, yeah. Okay. So then she was grabbing some other tools. Like, no, you're not ripping me up. What was it? She grabbed another piece. I forgot what it was. It looked like some big clamp thing, like she was
clamp or a spoon or something.
Yeah, she was definitely gonna scoop something out, but she's like, no, use your fingers. So she's like, all right, and I messed up. I was thinking something crazy, but yeah, she takes the fingers and he starts digging them in while it's trying to close up, and then she pulls the bullet out. There we go. Mission accomplished. We got the bullet.
I'm like, what is she gonna do with the bullet? At this point, I was like, what is she gonna do with this? Is she gonna bring it to her dad and be like, oh, look what I found? Obviously, they get answered, but good that they got the bullet. It's a start.
Yeah. And then real quick, thanks again. If you made it this far, people, if you're still following, you're still listening, please click the like, click the subscribe, stick around. We're covering the rest of the season. We got a bunch of other shows. Is it perfect? Nope. No, it's not. We got some
grow with us.
Growing. Yeah, this is a whole new process. We're coming up with different things, but that's it. I just want to give
years from now, we can laugh about this and be like, oh,
about it. And I'm like, oh, remember the early days? And
we're on the wrong slides.
I'll be replaced with an AI version of me. It'll be fantastic.
All right, so Ibrahim's back at the CDC.
What? You didn't see anything. For those listening, it's like, wait, what? Nothing.
Ibrahim is back at the CDC, and he's looking. He's speaking into a recorder. He's logging his findings.
And I feel like that was important.
Super important.
That was super important. It was real quick and subtle, but he said he found ground zero, and he says it was a creek, right?
The Moore Creek.
Was that it?
It was that stuff that we saw in the previous episode.
Yeah. All right, sorry.
It seems like the plant cells or whatever is regenerating. Something's happening with it that he's observing, and he's trying to figure out, obviously, why it's doing that. But he feels that was the ground zero for the revival day. So brings back your theory with something with the soil.
It's gotta be,
or something with that, that little area.
Forget about soybeans. We're growing humans. We're bringing everybody back. Imagine that. That could happen. We don't know. All right, look, real quick though. Remember the old lady with her husband? Husband passed away. It was the day after. She was all bitter about the whole thing. Well, maybe he wasn't put in the right spot. But you know what? Forget it. Scrapped it all. Forgot about the morgue. Everybody was in the morgue. Nobody was in the ground.
Yeah.
Nobody was in the ground.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that doesn't count. Oh, forget it. Rewind. Cut that out. All right, let's keep going. So, what was it? I think this was when.
Well, unless all the people that died were around that area at some point within the week of that situation, of their death, or maybe they drank something from the water from the creek. Maybe it was in the tap water. I don't know.
Maybe it's the tap water. Oh man, there's a lot of things in our tap water. Yeah, from New York, we got fluoride that keeps our teeth nice and clean. So they say. I just remember that. I always remember that. They were like, "Yo, there's fluoride in our water because people don't like to brush their teeth." I was like, "Really?" It was like, "Yeah, that's a thing." So, whatever. But so we got Ibrahim. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Ibrahim is researching this, and then we hear a door open, and Wayne shows up, and he's like, "I know you know something. Like, what else was going on there? Like, how could you be the only one that was with my daughter in the middle of the woods? Like." And he's like, what else do you know? You know something else. And you could see Ibrahim like about to crack. And then we just hear Miles screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And they look over and they see what's her name? Dr.
Clara,
Clara?
something like that. The governor said a different name, but from the images on their website, this is what the name they have.
She's running more tests on him, and they're like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm putting doses, I'm running doses, the venoms, the snake venom. And they're like, why? And he's like, because it limits the cell growth, and we're realizing that maybe if we could use this in a bigger portion, or more potent dosage, we could help battle against these guys if it ever comes that we need it.
Makes perfect sense. I'm sorry. I mean, run all the tests you can to figure this out. Because just putting them in a cell and just like, well, what do we do now? I don't know what we do now. No, well, this is what you do. You run some tests. You try some things out. You try to figure out what's going on. So I'm all on her side. I get they want to have Ibrahim represent the people that just like, no, we're by the book. CDC, this is what, but still.
It's a whole new book.
Yeah, there's a whole new book. We've never experienced something like this. So
I get it. At first, I was like, "Wow, that's crazy that they're just like ripping this guy apart and trying stuff on him." But at the same token, like,
and
what,
he's
what
healing.
if?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. He's healing. And what if we have a bunch of these that come back and decide they want to kill everyone? Right? They just want to be bad people again. It's like, or whatever, and they just want to cause havoc. Well, how do you put them down if you know that you can burn one up to a crisp and then they just regenerate, and you can pump them with lead and they come back? You have to find some way to give them their final rest. What if some of them, like Arlene, well, we don't know the full story because we haven't heard her side besides what's going on with their son-in-law. But what if she wants to just be put to rest? Like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I've had my life. My daughter's passed. The whole thing happened. I just want to go. Well, we can't. You can't die. Why not? Because we don't know how to do it. We
You gotta
don't know
watch
how.
everyone you love die.
We're gonna put you in a casket 6 feet under, and you're just gonna be there alive.
Oh my gosh.
Right? You put the little bell, that type of thing. No, I don't know. It's messed up, but
I think it's funny that in this situation, Wayne is almost like he's in control of the CDC all of a sudden. He's like, yeah, continue doing this. Like, we need to find out. I know that he's like the leading, law enforcement here, but it's like, this is government, and this is, I don't know, it just feels weird that he's like, yeah, keep doing this, keep torturing the guy.
Oh, he's got no one else. The mayor is doing mayor stuff. Besides coming in and arguing, he doesn't stick around, doesn't know much. But to that point, this whole hierarchy gets addressed real quick and changes up.
Ibrahim was like, is this torture? Like, we're starting with torture? And she's like, no, it's starting with discovery.
That's it. We just gotta figure it out. Yeah.
But some good news. Dana. Oh yeah. Let's go to Blaine. Yeah, let's.
Yeah. Let's get into this.
There's a reviver meeting.
Reviver meeting hosted by our favorite bartender. Who also does daycare services on the side, and she now hosts these meetings. Where? I don't know. Maybe it's at the. No, this is too big
like
of a
church, like a basement of a church.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, oh, this is in the basement of the bar, but I doubt that. Not that. It's like, oh, free shots for everyone.
Christmas lights. I think there's like a nativity scene in the background, so I think it's like a church or something, some community center or something.
Community center, but I have a lot of questions with Blaine. I have a lot of questions because there's one thing. All right, we're episode 5. This show has really hasn't addressed who is this guy. Like, we understand that he has a radio show, but I guess that's no different than like a podcast or something going on. It doesn't sound like it's over the airways nationally or anything like that. It's local.
But he's gaining supporters. He's getting
getting supporters because he's preaching, but he's not a preacher. He's getting these followers that are scared about the revivers and what they can do. We already saw what happened with Farlene, and so now that they can see all these revivers all gathering together, he has his group. They got weapons. Looks like they're ready to do some damage.
One of the guys that got up, he was like, I feel empty. I feel weird. I used to feel that my life had a purpose, and then God had a plan for me, but then I died, and now I'm back, and I'm like, what is my purpose? I don't know what I'm here for. Yeah. And then Blaine shows up with the squad, and then he walks up to the guy and sniffs him, as you mentioned before. He sniffs him, and he goes, oh, you smell like someone that was going straight to hell before this. So
See, all right, you caught that line. Never
He's like,
mind.
I'll
I
be the one
thought.
to send you back.
See, I thought when he sniffed that there was a certain scent that they gave that maybe they look like they're back to normal, but they're really decaying inside.
Well, he has this extra sense with all this stuff apparently. So and at first I thought it was just some mystical thing that he thought was the case, but then we find out later that there is something more to play, and
we,
we probably should obviously heed his word in a way.
yeah, I mean, we still don't know why Arlene gave him the baby.
Yeah,
Like, what's up with that? So there's a lot of questions, and I'm a little upset that we don't have more answers with them. It would have been great if we had those answers in the last episode when Dana was en route to go visit Blaine at his scrapyard or whatever. Just those side stories talking about like who he is. It's like he's our local tow truck guy / wacko. Believes in
that's the lore of
conspiracies,
all
whatever.
this. That's the lore
I
of all
want
this.
more.
The
I want
unraveling.
more. Yeah, I want more because he's got a crew that are willing to back him up on this.
Well, speaking of his crew, he has this young guy that comes up to confront the other guy that was talking about feeling empty, and the guy pushes the kid, and the kid flies across the room and bangs against a pole or whatever, and you can see that his hand is broken, and he's like crying on the ground, and he's like, see what they could do.
Yeah. The guy didn't know he was that strong. He even said, he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize my strength. It was like, man, they're all super strong then. We were calling Arlene super strong, but no, it seems like they all have this. We saw that in the last episode with M. She picked up Aaron with one hand, choking him and stuff. So they all have this strength.
But if we look at the next picture,
we get.
Oh yeah, that's the whole CDC thing with Wayne. Look at the next one after that. Here K and M are now trying to figure out a way to get into the morgue because they want to go to Aaron's body to get a little bit of his blood to put it on the bullet, and that's M's plan. She wants to put it on the bullet, get a little bit of Dana's blood as well. Well, obviously Dana's blood will be on it already, I guess. Just to facilitate the whole idea.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on right until that point, because we just see that she's out in the parking lot and Randy's there and she's talking about the car, blah, blah, blah.
Even before that, M she slashes the tire, and K's like, oh wow, you're really strong. So it shows that M is super strong as well. And then we get Kay out here talking with Randy because I guess they knocked on the door pretending, hey, we got a flat. Randy's like, all right, I'm gonna come and help you with the tires.
Yeah. But he has a bunch of his own issues. He's not experienced with this, but he's doing his part. And we find this out because M goes inside to the morgue and takes the bullet and dips it into Aaron's blood. Right? That's what's going on here. She wants the blood, the DNA, to get that on the bullet. And then Kay shows up. It's like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be the decoy. Go back out there. It's like he's still on the first lug. It's going to take him a while. So no concerns there. But that is the plan.
Yeah. So she pulls Aaron's body out and she scrapes the blood on it from the bullet wound.
So before I even move on, this right here, we've seen Randy a few times. He seems okay. Now, from the first episode, he was involved in the first scene with the guy in the furnace, getting out and all the cremation, all that. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Brent later on was talking about how he thinks something's going on with Randy ever since the furnace. He hasn't been saying. I haven't noticed that. He seems to be perfectly fine. Right? He's talking. He's over here helping a bystander. I mean, he seems okay.
But I guess as the person that runs the morgue and that's your career, and then just to see everybody that you were just working on just get up and run out, I mean, that's crazy. So I could see that. I could see that being like the weirdest situation he could even.
How about people if they were? I'm sure that there's somebody who's a mortician who's in a funeral home, and it's like, there goes my business. It's like I can't give refunds. It's like, yo, your family just paid like $10,000 to do all this. We got the flowers, we got everything put together. I already dealt with all of the embalming and stuff, and now you just get up and run out.
Well, that depends if he's running, like working in the funeral home, or he's just doing autopsies, because it seems like he's just working for crime investigation. Oh, but then he's also
no, not him. But I'm thinking like somebody, because just in general with Revival Day, there had to have been some people that were in a funeral home. just in the
They
basement getting
They
ready
paid for the funeral already
the family's already paid. And I was like, I'm sure they're gonna ask for their money back
with the embalming liquid and all that stuff. Just like, whatever. That's all that. But on a lighter note, Dana is awake now and talking to M, and she says something really funny. I think you got the audio for this.
Wait, no, that was with Ibrahim. That's
No.
later on.
No, Dana with the razor.
Well, I didn't put that one in.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
I should have. Oh, so go ahead, say
That
it.
was really funny. So Dana wakes up and she sees M's haircut, and she's like, "Did you lose a fight with the razor?" It's like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. She's got the zingers. And you know what? The truth is, that was very random. That was random.
haircut.
What,
Yeah,
the haircut. Well, what? It popped
It
up in my
suits her.
head.
It works. It works.
I guess, but it put in an image of Brandon Lee from The Crow when he smashes the mirror and sits down and puts on the paint, and you got The Cure playing in the background, and it's like he needs to reinvent himself. He's no longer,
I think that's it.
Eric Graven. He is now something else, and maybe that was it. She's looking in the mirror and she's like, I don't feel like my old self.
I'm not the fragile little scared
not
M
the
anymore.
fragile. That's it.
Yeah.
Now I'm just gonna shave the side of my head. Let's go.
I'm different.
Yo, where's Rhodey?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, where's her boyfriend? He's MIA in this one.
He's on tour. I don't know.
He's on tour, right? Well, he can't leave the town. He's probably still in the apartment waiting for her to come back. Because remember, she said, "Stay here. I'll be back." When she went to go to the woods.
Dana's like, poor Coop must be so worried, and then M's like, oh, he's with Nella. So that answered that question of like, who's watching this kid?
Maybe Nella's also watching Rhodey. Maybe she's watching everybody. That should be the running joke. It's like whenever someone's missing, just look for Nella, and she'll be watching them. Oh boy.
But then now Dana's questioning M, like, why were you out there? And she's like, I had a feeling. I knew that Aaron did it, but I questioned him, and he's swearing to me that he didn't kill me. But I found it. I had his ring. I woke up with this ring in my mouth, and
she was right because Dana said it. Remember, Dana had questions like, I think this is related to that. She's like, no, it's not. But it is.
Well, she's like, M, did you kill him? She's like, I really wanted to, and I almost did, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
And she's like, what if I'm the reason you nearly died? I don't know what I would have done if I lost you too.
Oh, well.
So she's looking out for her sister now. She wants to take care of her.
No.
So then we cut back to Wayne in the office, and the bullet is a 45.
Yep.
Because even before this, M and K went to the site of the incident, and she planted the bullet.
She plants the bullet, and they get that done. And what was it? It was some dogs barking in the background. I was like, somebody showing up, or it's like, all right.
It's the police coming back to the scene.
Perfect timing, unless they told them. I'm like, what's the chances of that? It's already been closed off. They said they gathered all the information, so I guess that's one part they probably left out. And maybe she said, "Hey, I found something." Because wait, did she say that? No, maybe not. I'm trying to remember if she told Wayne, her dad, that she found the bullet.
No,
right?
She left it there, and then we don't really see them finding the bullet.
Right.
We just cut to someone's like, "Yeah, the bullet's a 45," and Wayne's like, "Well, we got to find out, who did this. Then, like, it's not our gun, And then they call him Lester.
Finally. No, well, the receptionist keeps saying, hey, Lester's here. He really wants to talk. They're like, oh, fine. Let him in. And yeah, he spews about, hey, I know there was some creepy guy with a ski mask. They should stop selling ski masks. Especially
on my property.
Yeah, my property. Everybody's in my God, dead animals and horses. What the hell's going on with this?
Like, I saw him holding a flashlight. I think it was a Phoenix 316.
Oh, he went in depth on these lights.
Yeah, he knows his flashlights.
He knows his flashlights.
But good good thing, because Wayne was like, wait, I know that type of flashlight. That's the type. Was it like this? The guy's
exactly
a cop.
Like that.
Exactly like a cop, at least.
Well, that's it. He's exactly like that. And maybe it's one that they issue out. It's not one that you can just go buy in the store. Mm-hmm. That type of deal. So maybe it's a special order, but it's probably just for the law enforcement in town. Because once that's done, he goes out, he talks to Brent. And then that's when we found out the whole little thing about Randy. How did he not catch it? But he said, hey, long story short, he's like, you need to collect all the guns from all the deputies and
Even
officers
mine.
here. Well, he didn't offer it up. The guy said, "I'm gonna have to take
I'm
yours
gonna
too.
take yours too. Like, all
I'm
right.
taking yours too. You're one of everybody here." He's like, "All right, wait, what's going on?" The shooter is an officer, is a cop because of the whole flashlight thing. So we'll find him that way. And the only part of the scene, I was like, okay, this makes sense. Okay, wait. It's when the receptionist says, "Oh, Lester says he still has more info," and he just brushes that off.
It's
He
like,
just helped you with this. Maybe he has the gun.
he
You
takes like
know?
he takes like a little bit of info and just was like, all right, good. And then he like
Yeah,
runs with
that's
it.
enough. He was like,
Person's
"Don't
like,
you want to know everything?" No, I just want to figure it out for
I know.
myself. Don't
Imagine later on,
spoil it.
he's like, why didn't you ask? I knew the whole time who killed him. It's my cousin.
hmm
I would
My
have told you
cousin,
had you asked.
Dirtbag Timmy. I figured it out. He had that ski mask. He bought it at Dick's. Oh, man.
So all the police are handing over their firearms into little plastic baggies, so they're gonna do all the search for that.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the governor on webcam talking with
Ibrahim and with Clara, doctor. Yeah, whatever. The other chick, yeah, doctor.
She's like, I want you to keep experimenting on the reviver. I want you to continue your work. I don't care about all this other stuff, and I think it's about time that we, made a change in leadership. So she's like, Ibrahim, I want you to hand over all your samples and follow her orders.
That's it. She's the boss.
She gave him that smug look, man. She seems like, not like a villain, but kind of bad right now. I don't know.
I don't know how this whole thing works, but I would think that both. Now, is she also part of CDC? The other doctor?
Yeah.
Both of them are, right?
Yeah.
They're both are. Who's their boss? Because it's definitely not the governor.
I guess it was Ibrahim. Who's their boss?
Yeah, who's the one that dispatched them? It's like, all right, this whole thing, you're running the operation. That would be the person to make this call, not the governor.
I guess it was the governor's orders to ask the CDC to come and investigate.
I guess the governor's the boss of bosses. I mean, they're the governor of the state. So whatever they say goes. But yeah, he's been demoted. There goes that.
So now with the next picture, we have that guy again. He's with the mask. He's now looking the same one that broke into Aaron's house. The same guy I'm assuming shot Dana and Aaron. He's with now he has the police flashlight in his mouth here, I believe. So, yeah, it's him. He's looking through someone's house. We don't know exactly who. He opens up a file and we see a picture of a girl. Her name is Jessie, and he puts the box down. So I guess he got what he wanted, and I'm assuming we'll find out soon. And then we cut to, which is the most important part, I think, of this episode, Blaine with his followers, everybody.
Oh, man. He was going crazy. They were having some chanting, and they were like, a big rally going on here. But
did we get the chants?
I was gonna put that. I did do that, but I was like, that's too long. And they already saw that one. Everybody
they were like, our rock, our fortress grants us everlasting life, or something like that.
Yeah, it was something. They were getting into it, but the whole point of this, I don't think they do this all the time. I think this was just for the initiation for that one young guy.
Yeah, the kid.
And we'll just get to it. So we got this little
bit. Brandon, become one of the flock. Go in. Give your hand to the guiding light. May it burn away your sins.
Yeah, burn away my sins. We don't see it. And that's just how that cuts off is sort of how it cuts off there. I wanted to see what is he putting his hand on, because he had to go into like some little private room. And like a hot rock?
No, you didn't see it. So he opens the door. You see this light.
Yeah,
and
I saw
hear this growling. It's the same light. It's the same sound that we heard before when in the last episode when Cooper
with Jordan and Cooper.
Yeah, it's whatever deity, alien, whatever this thing is, and they're banging on a drum with the symbol. The kid puts his hand through. He's screaming and stuff, but when he comes out all in pain and stuff, they're all cheering for him, and he smiles and he raises his hand, and you can see that the symbol that was on the drum is now burned into his hand. So whatever thing or creature or whatever that is
see, I don't know about that. No. Well, see, that changes everything. And then Blaine isn't just some wacko. He's got some connection.
That's
to
what
all
I'm saying. Yeah,
that's not what I got. I thought it was like a hot rock or something, like a branding type of thing, and then he had to touch the symbol to
No.
get the branding on his hand. And I thought that's what they were going for, but they
This is
didn't
exactly
show it.
why Blaine has so much influence on this whole thing. He knows.
There's more to it. Then you know what? I want the Sheriff Wayne to step down as well. He's doing a horrible job. How do you not know that you have some crazy cult thing going on? You had Blaine in custody. You let him go, saying, "Well, he did, help out a situation." Oh, hey, well, let's mention the fact that he has this little side cult that he's putting together, and they have these markings on their hands. And if Wayne doesn't know about the markings on the hands, he definitely needs to step down.
He uses up.
He is the worst. He is the worst.
Blaine even says, like, "Behold his ascension," and everyone's cheering, and it's like this whole thing. And I guess this kid feels accepted now. The next scene was hilarious. Dana's awake. Ibrahim visits her, and he gives her a coloring book.
Oh,
yeah, this audio. This is funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
The coloring book. I'm like a grown-ass woman.
I thought the candy could be for you, and that the coloring book and everything else maybe for Cooper.
Fantastic acting right there with the stumbling words and stuff. That's perfect.
It reminded me of like Naked Gun, like when they would say just certain things, and it's like, no, it's actually for this. It was just like,
yeah, it's like what's this?
That is just really funny. She's like, I'm a grown ass woman. Like,
right? It's like, what are you doing? I don't know why I picked up. Was it I know
for
you
your
did
kid that you haven't been hanging out with?
Oh, right. That was the other thing. It's like, why would you bring that? Then just give the sweets and all that. Take that part out.
Maybe it was
he left it all in the bag and just handed it over. That's like going to the souvenir shop, just buying a bunch of stuff. I'm like, here you go, just handing it over.
Maybe low key it was for her, and then he got embarrassed and was like, nah, it's for your kid.
Oh man,
I wouldn't mind a coloring book.
Right, coloring book.
It's relaxing. It's calming. Listen to good podcasts like ours, I guess. And color.
That's it. Exactly.
That's a vibe.
Yeah, we should bring this. Forget color. Let's do this in black and white.
You color us in while you watch.
Exactly. You color it in. We'll get a crayon set, and then you screw up your monitor, and you send us nasty messages. You dumbass told me to color, and I messed up my screen.
You guys do refunds,
right? Exactly. I'm gonna kick you off the UB tubes. All right, but
the conversation between them was kind of awkward. He was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a job for much longer, and she's like, what, you're leaving Wassa? And he was like, well, not if I have to.
Yeah, because he said that was the highlight of his day. He said the best part of his day so far, and that's when she came up with that. Yeah,
he was like, you gonna miss me or something? She was like, well, I mean, he's like, how about another day, and you could leave your pew pew.
Yeah, they didn't see. Well, I would have chopped up this whole scene here. Some of those lines that it wasn't needed. The whole thing, you're gonna miss me. No, they didn't need that. They can't keep throwing this like he's so clueless. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. It just had it. Well, once he brings up, it's like, all right, so what? You're leaving? What's going on? Things aren't working out with the job, but hopefully we can get a second date. That's really what I want.
She's like, yeah, let's go
without the gun. That's it. And it's like, yeah, oh, okay, well, we'll see. You did bring me candy. That part worked. I was like, yeah, okay, there you go. And a coloring book. You want to sit down and color?
So the last scene is the guy with the Rattail, McCrae, that we saw earlier when he was playing in some RPG game, or turn-based game. I don't know what it was, but he was singing in his car. He's just having the time of his life. He's just, and you and I were just like, what is this scene? Like, what is happening?
Random. Yeah.
Then we see the police pull up, and then we cut to Wayne in his office, and they're like, we found something on McCrae. His gun matches the gun, the bullet that was shot, and you won't believe what we found in his trunk. And then they open this trunk, and you see like these like styrofoam boxes with like red tape on it, and they open it, and it's a bloody foot. And McCrae like spits on the ground in front of them, like defiantly, I guess.
What is this? At first I was like, oh, well, maybe he's selling body parts, but then it's like, no, they don't do that. It's usually organs, right? Isn't that the whole thing? Just like collecting organs. We saw that in Squid Game. It was organs. It wasn't actual like body parts.
I have an idea.
Go ahead. Go for it. What's your idea?
Pieces of the revivers. Because they could heal without their body parts. They can make new body parts. Maybe it's the body parts that don't have a. I mean, that's what I'm like. Could these be parts of Arlene? Selling them so that people out of the out of that region could study it for cellular regrowth or something. I mean, because why else would you sell a foot? Like, and it's not even like it's not even a cauterized foot or like a foot that's like, you know, you could use to study for like science or I mean, or they're hoping to reattach it to someone and hope that the foot will reattach because it thinks that it's connecting to its host again.
Then he starts walking away like the hand, like a thing in Addams Family. Yeah. No, yeah, that'd be funny, right? They lift up the bag and the toes are wiggling. Like, oh, what's happening here? No, man, I don't know. I wonder if this has something to do with Tony checks CM Punk, to see if there's something else going on. Maybe there's another operation.
Well, that's why, because he said my boss has something else that he wants us to do. That was like he was like something big for us, and that's why I need to get back in. So yeah,
but if this is the case, he technically doesn't need to get back in. We just need to have Officer Rattail just bring the body parts over to the border, and then just hand it off to Tony, so Tony can go and give it to their new distributor or whoever the bigger boss, whoever's paying for it. Because that could be very well the case. But then we need to find the full body of that foot.
Well, there's something we do know. He's selling it. He's doing bad stuff. He's obviously trying to keep things under wraps. Maybe it's something to do with the doctor. What subject did he teach the professor in the school? What subject was he teaching? Because maybe they all had some in cahoots thing where they knew some stuff about something. Because one is protecting the other. It's a whole ring of something going on here.
There's a lot going on here. All right, so let's see. What do we know so far? We know we got Blaine with his crew. Some craziness going on. Maybe alien related. Definitely related with the symbols and all that.
Yeah,
now, you're thinking that's the same sound that you heard with Jordan and Cooper when they were in the
same said he said he saw that light, and he said it in the last episode too.
But he didn't approach the light. He just said that she saw that.
He saw, but he has that light in his basement or something, whatever that was.
So we know that much. We know that there's a new boss of the CDC running an experiment. Something has to come from that.
Yeah.
What else we know? We know that it looks like the case is pretty much closed when it comes to the whole Dana. Oh, you shot Aaron. That's done right now. They already know it's Officer Rattail. But what about the burnt face guy?
Yeah, well, he's connected. It's a whole
exactly. He's connected, but that's who we thought did the shooting.
Because look, if it's one officer that had that situation, McCrae, and then there's another officer that they found the light and the other thing, he gave those weapons to the guy because you know for a fact that McCrae didn't do that stuff. So he if that's his gun, if that's his stuff, either he gave it to the guy or the guy broke into McCrae's
there's no way he would go in and start taking shots. I can understand taking shots at Aaron, but you're going to shoot a fellow officer. That seems a little bit too far.
It's obvious. It's apparent that the guy with the mask knows about a lot of stuff, and he knows about a lot of people. He's breaking into houses, looking for evidence, taking things that might either incriminate him or incriminate someone else.
And planting, because remember he planted the drive for the reporter lady before. But if you know and you got ideas, go ahead, leave it in the comments. We'll talk about it. We'll bring it up, and we'll take it from there. But hey, this is it, people. If you made it this far, thank you. Please like, subscribe, stick around while we keep covering the rest of this show and other shows and put this whole thing together and figure out what's happening here. I just want CM Punk to come back. That's me with the wrestling fan and stuff. But I just want to see more of it, more of him, I should say, because we see that he's very aggressive. He beat the guy to a guy to death with the phone.
He's definitely coming back in the next episode.
But
I already feel.
I'm nervous that he may not.
That'd be weird if he just vanishes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not holding my breath. Yeah, I think it might just be playing phone tag, one of those things. We'll see him on the phone, maybe one scene here and there. But that's why at first I'm thinking it was going to be him in the mask. Well, not him, but more like they have somebody fill in for him with the mask because he was not available for filming. So they're like, and then we'll just say later
on.
More
to his story. Take
his mask off. But yeah, we'll definitely see. But anyway, thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll be back for next week for episode 6 of Revival. Peace.
Peace out.